Good morning everybody, welcome to Brands Hatch after what has been obviously a very sad week, but we have been given the go-ahead to go racing. So we're going to begin our weekend and our Saturday with the Pitlane Preview as usual, and we start down here at Ram Racing, the newly crowned British GT Teams champions. Certain points on the entry list means that they cannot be beaten to that particular title with 2 rounds to go. Thanks, of course, to Ian Loggy and John Ferguson. Both of those guys have won races this year, so Ram already teams champions. But they could also wrap up the driver's title with a race to spare this weekend. Ian Loggy, who shares with Callum McLeod, he was due to be with Jules Gullon, but he's been forced out through injury, could become British GT's first GT3 champion with a race to spare since 2010, when Richard Ashburn won the championship. Anyway, there's a few permutations to get through before we get that far, which I'll talk about as we move along. The second of Ram's Mercedes there, that car won at Snetterton with Ulysse de Pauw and John Ferguson. As I say, contributed to Ram's team's title. Nothing from Toyota Gazoo Racing this morning or Enduro, so we'll carry on up to 2Cs and specifically the DK engineering car of James Cottingham and Lewis Williamson. These guys are second in the championship, but depending on what happens with the Spa result, which is still subject to an appeal, which we're hoping to hear about this weekend, that car is either 33 points or 39 points behind Loggy in the Drivers' Championship. As I say, we will hopefully have a result before we go racing tomorrow so that we can apportion those points, understand how the championship works, and also apply success penalties to the Brands Hatch race. Second of 2C's cars, this is actually running under the Tempesta Racing banner. It's run with a couple of teams this year, but back with 2C's here at Brands Hatch. Chris Froggatt and Andrew Howard, who races a Mercedes AMG for the first time this weekend. Of course, Andrew, better known for his work with Beechdean AMR and this year at Paddock's McLaren. On to Team Parker's Porsches. The Cayman in GT4 had a particularly good result at Spa. Jamie Orton and Seb Hopkins scored their first podium of the season. And there's also the 911 GT3R there, Nick Jones and Scott Malvern. And on to Paddock. Their GT4 car features Adam Hatfield this weekend, a bit of a change in their driver lineup. And Kelvin Fletcher is back aboard the GT3 entry with Martin Plowman after his various showbiz commitments kept him out of the last 2 races. Same team, Motus One, but they have a new car this weekend. The Mercedes AMG GT4 makes its British GT return. They formerly raced a McLaren 570S. First look at that car actually. 76 McLaren, that's obviously been with us all year with Ewan Hankey and Mia Fluitt. And rather annoyingly, at Assetto, we've got 2 Ginettas. Unfortunately, one of them is at scrutineering, so we've only just had a quick look at the full season car. We'll see the new race-by-race entry later on today. Charlie Robertson back in that car. Charlie actually set fastest lap here last year on the G56's debut. They also came within about 5 minutes and a puncture of winning the race, so good to see what he can do alongside debutant Darren Leung this weekend. Familiar face, half face of ABBA's Mercedes. Stella's GT4 champion chasing Audi is behind a garage, so we'll carry on. Up to Team Rocket RJN's McLaren. See, familiar to you guys if you've been keeping tabs on this all season. Garage is down on Team Brits McLaren, which is a shame because Bobby Trunley and Aaron Morgan scored an overall podium at Spa. Amazing result for those guys. And another debutant this weekend in the form of Ed Peed and Andre Borodin. Greystone GT run the McLaren 720S alongside their existing full season entry of Stuart and Lewis Proctor. We just missed the Veluga Porsche, which has headed off to scrutineering. And now we come to Fox, who are running a tribute, of course, to Her Majesty the Queen. Now, as we mentioned down there is an appeal because of Spa's result, and it revolves around this car and Paddock's GT3 McLaren. Once we have that appeal result, we can apportion points for Spa, we can have a result, and we can also apply success penalties. But Fox, provisionally on the road, won at Spa. Whether they keep that position will be determined by the appeal that, as I say, is taking place this weekend. The GT4 Championship leading Aston Martin of Newbridge, it's Turner and Topham. Just 2 points separating the top 3 crews in GT4, so that championship is very much alive. And another look at Century's BMW M4 GT3, which for the first time since 2016, the British GT entry will feature Alexander Sims, factory driver for BMW. He's stepping into that one alongside a debutant Henry Dawes. Century, of course, also have their 2 GT4 M4s. You're looking at the championship chasing one of the 2 of them there. That's Will Burns in that one, the reigning champion. He won here last year en route to that title. He, of course, shares with Jack Brown. And another GT4 title contender is, of course, Academy's Mustang. Red Line have switched back to their Lamborghini. They had a Porsche at Spa, you might remember. Alex Maliakin and James Dorlin are pretty much guaranteed to win the Silver Am title this weekend. They only need a handful of points to wrap that up. R Racing's Aston Martin, which won last time out at Spa, so they carry the full 20-second success penalty, but those guys are very much in GT4 championship contention. And finally, Barwell's Lamborghini, always at the top of the pit lane, Barwell. Right, that's it for the pit lane preview. Join us later today. We've got live coverage at 3:45 of qualifying, and that's followed, of course, by tomorrow's race, which starts at 1:30. There'll also be coverage across British GT's social media.